So these are the FRQs that you could expect. Now, a little bit of practice for FRQs. On Monday, we have a lab quiz. It's based on the labs you did. Some of these things were done in the lab as well. So the lab quiz will cover some of these same type of things from the lab data that you collected. Okay, essay questions can also be given where you have to explain or show your work, either or, to answer a question. And that's based on what we've done in class. The exam, how it will be graded. There will be 45 points awarded towards the multiple choice questions, and free response questions will be worth 55 points. So the free response questions are worth more than the multiple choice, small amount more. Quarter 1 midterm is going to be equal approximately 25% of the total points for quarter 1. So midterms approximately 25% of the total points for quarter 1. Now the average of the top 3 scores among all 3 AP Chem sections determines the 100% mark. And the grade curve is set accordingly due to that 100% mark. So if we get the top 3 scores, then all the other AP Chemistry sections are basing it off of our scores. Yes?
Are you doing it like a college bell curve or just like
It is usually using statistics like a college bell curve. However, it is usually more lenient than that. So it is not that 15% have to fail and 15% have to get A's. I do not want to give someone an F that gets a 70% on this exam, for example. So we take that into consideration. Yeah?
So all 3 scores need all 3 classes, including response?
That's right. We've got 2, we've got 1.
And that means, can you be curved down? Failing if everybody scores really well, and you don't score as well as everyone else?
As I was saying, I do not think that will happen. If everyone scores really well, everyone will be rewarded. So yeah, not based on an exact bell curve. It is more for your benefit than anything else. Now, 2010 results from the exam. The top scores were 98, 95, and 94. The top average, the average of these top scores was 95, and that was 100% of the scaled score. So in this particular example of 2010, the curve went like this. You got above an 80, it was an A, above a 68 was a B, above a 54 was a C, and above a 44 was a E. Okay. So you were in the class last year, you got an 81% on the exam, you got an A. It's a low A, but you still got an A. You got a 43%, you still get an F. You get a 0% in the same category, unfortunately. Yeah.
Wait, is our lab quiz Monday or Tuesday?
Lab quiz is Monday. Monday. Yep. Lab quiz. The detail I'll give you on the lab quiz is you will be able to use your lab 1 and lab 2 on the lab quiz. So all of the answers you did and used for those. I will tell you the lab quiz is very similar to the questions and the lab work. So if you did the lab and you answered all the questions and you know how to answer the questions, that means you can do the lab quiz. That's at least the idea. It's not meant to be anything tricky. Just like in the lab, you have to determine probably the formula of something. You'll probably have to convert to atoms like we did in the chalk lab or something. Okay? I can see an easy way of combining those two together into a set of questions. What's up? Tell you the easy way. Easy way to write the question. questions? No, I cannot tell you what the questions are exactly. But if you review your labs, the good thing about your labs is you can use them on the test. You'll have them in front of you, you'll be taking the lab test, you'll have your labs right in front of you. Yeah?
Are the lab professors going to be like this calculation stuff, or is it also going to include questions about like how this happened or how that happened?
That would be great questions to include on a lab quiz.
So that's
Explaining why something might have happened, explaining why a result is the way it is, oftentimes is something that a lab quiz covers because it's based on experimental data. If it's just based on a calculation, we could do those out of the textbook, right? So it's always going to be based on experimental data, and it may also look at experimental errors, what could have caused this to happen, or why your result isn't 100% yield, or something like that. But the questions are straight from the labs. Yes?
So if you're the person who got 98, would you get like extra credit?
No, you do not get extra credit. Yeah, you do not get extra credit. Clarify that. If you're the 98 person, you're like, dude, I should be over 100%. Unfortunately, you get 100%. That's the max. You can't go over 100%. No extra credit available. Yeah?
So on the lab quiz, you'll be able to use your lab.
On the lab quiz, you'll be able to use your lab. Lab 1 and lab 2, you may not use any other notes whatsoever. So make sure it's all in your lab. If your labs are not complete, or if I think you're using something else, I will take everything away from you. So please just use your labs. You can put them in a free-ring binder. Your labs, your answers, your data. Midterm retakes. If you're in one of these boats here, and you don't do as well as you would like to retake the midterm, you'll be taking a different version for up to 81% of possible points. So if you get a 42 and you decide you'd like to increase that, you can retake it. So if your midterm score is a 66%, your retake score was a 92%. You did a little bit better. Your midterm grade's 81%. Can't go above 81. Yep.
Is that still passing A?
Midterm grade, 81% of possible points. Yep, looks like it. Low A. Now, retake exams are held after school. Okay, and on Wednesday mornings, 2 options. Okay, we will be announcing this to be determined based on the retakes needed. So Wednesday morning will probably be the time that will work best for me. And then we'll also have some after school. If you don't take it here, you could take it with the other chemistry teachers. So we'll be working on making sure we have a time that works for a lot of people. Now, on the exam, this here is an example of a sample exam problem that was used on the midterm. Was used on a previous midterm. There is no guarantee that it will be used on this year's midterm, but it has been used in the past, this exact problem. So what we're going to do right now is look at this exact problem. A problem like this would probably be used, but there's no guarantee, of course, it will be exactly the same. There will be some changes, of course. So, sample exam problem. We're going to spend about 12 minutes working on this problem here. Using, of course, your calculator periodic table. You should not be using your ion sheet extensively, but if you need it, you can use it. If you're working on a problem right now, if you could stop and pause just for a moment. Review session number 1. To review what is on the test, we've gone over many of the things on the test itself. You should be able to do something like this here. Okay, writing the formulas for the following compounds. Okay, so this here, using nomenclature, you should be able to write the formulas for compounds like these. Okay. Yeah, this I will put on YouTube later. What's your channel? nomenclature. These are some sample type problems. Okay, you can see here the answers as well. This is another type of problem we did earlier in the year. Determine the number of protons, number of electrons, number of neutrons, and the isotope name. So this type of problem should take hopefully less than a minute using the periodic table. What's up? 17, number of protons. How many electrons?
18.
Number of neutrons.
20.
And isotope name?
Chlorine 17. Chlorine 37.
Ah, chlorine 37. All right. Come on. There we go. Technically, it's a chloride because it's an ion, but chlorine 37 is acceptable. All right, let's look at another example. The volume of distilled water that should be added to 10 milliliters of 12 molar hydrochloric acid in order to prepare a 0.500 molar HCl solution is approximately.
Are these questions online?
They will be on YouTube. We're just going to use them as thinking points right now. So, what equation would we use for this? Alright, M1V1 equals M2V2. Alright, so we've got 10 milliliters. These two go together. And last one here goes with our unknown. So those two to go together over here, there, and our unknown. You don't have to. The milliliters can be milliliters on both sides. Yep, don't have to change to liters. That's the good thing about the equation. All right, what about a titration? What equation are we using? Same thing. You can do it any way you want. M1 MAVA equals MBVA. One of them is unknown. 25 times 3 equals 15.5 times X. That's it. That's all you gotta do. All right, this is the precipitate one. We'll talk about this tomorrow. See ya.